Thank you for tuning in to the Island Treasures podcast. We value the insights shared by our guests and host, but it's important to note that their personal experiences are intended to inform and encourage, and not to replace professional, legal, or medical advice. With that, we are ready for today's exciting episode. Welcome to Island Treasures mini podcast for caregivers. This episode is brought to you by Alongside Caregiver Consulting, and I am your host and caregiver consultant, Alison Van Schie, from beautiful Vancouver Island in British Columbia, Canada. In the full podcast episode, Caregiving Unveiled, True Purpose for an Encore Career, Bill Cohen shared his caregiving story. And in this mini episode, we visit a few of the resources he found helpful along the way. And here he talks about memory cafes. I just learned about your memory cafes. So could you speak about those? They sound brilliant. They sound lovely.
Okay. We'd love to tell you about it because there's a little story I remember with the support groups. There were at least a couple of the spouses who would say, "Are you talking about me? Why can't I come?" And so the caregiver would say, "Is there something we can do together?" So I said, we can try something. It's called a memory cafe. And it is for both of you, except it would be maybe no further advanced than mild cognitive impairment, MCI, or early stage dementia. And some groups do something similar every time. They'll do like socializing, music, refreshments, dancing, that type of thing. I try to do a little something every month, something different. And it could be anywhere from memory puzzles, like if you've ever heard of memory joggers, it comes from dementia map. Right, yeah. So like, finish this sentence. Rolling stone gathers no moss. Right. And even for somebody with early stage dementia, they may not remember what they had for breakfast, but they'll finish those sentences. And their care partner will be delighted to say, "Oh, that's how they used to be." There's still something there, which is true. They are themselves. They're not themselves, but they're still themselves inside. And that's old memory. So we do other things like that. The last time we did a game called, and I think this comes from Golden Carers, about have you ever? Like, have you ever ridden an elephant or a horse or something? Yep. Ridden in a plane. I changed it to seaplane. Things like that. Yeah. And in an hour, we only got through 4 questions because we had so many good stories. I don't want to just hear yes or no. Tell me a story. Tell me about when you did that. Another resource that I have given many times to clients and occasionally in the support group, and I tell people about it, Rachel Wonderlin with Dementia by Day. She has a podcast. She's a gerontologist in Pennsylvania, and she has some really good stuff, including 3 books. She has a lot of experience in care facilities, primarily memory care. And one of her books is called Creative Engagement. And there's a lot of great ideas, whether it's somebody is at home or in a care facility. And so I'd like to recommend that to people. And the important thing is whatever activity that they do or you do with them, and it's just the same as any task, like putting away the dishes or setting the table. It doesn't matter how they did it, if they did it correctly or if they do it how you did it. It's that they are keeping engaged, they're active, they're keeping busy, and it gives you a little break to maybe be making dinner, right? So a lot of people forget that. Just let that go.
So hearing about these activities, we can join Bill in finding the importance of keeping our loved ones active and engaged. If you wish to contact Bill, here's how.
And so my website is Cohen, C-O-H-E-N, caregivingsupport.com. And it talks about how I help people, how I work, also about my elder mediation, testimonials, all that good stuff, including my social media, that type of thing. I give you also on most of the platforms, particularly, it's obviously my name, Bill Cohen, on Facebook. I'm also on Instagram and TikTok. I do at least one video a week. And I do have also a virtual support group on Facebook called Dementia Support Group for Caregivers with Bill Cohen.
Okay.
That's my community. In the Facebook group, we have members from, I'm pretty sure, all states and most of the provinces and all 6 continents, except for Antarctica. I haven't found a penguin there yet, but people need support everywhere, and especially in rural areas. I mean, it's easier to find resources and support in metropolitan areas or cities, but you get out in the middle of nowhere, it's really hard to find. So that's why if I get somebody who joins us in my weekly group virtually, that's great because I can support them from anywhere.
Yeah. Bill's virtual support group is available for caregivers anywhere, which is really important, especially if you're in a rural area where caregiving resources and supports may be scarce. Whether you are a caregiver living in a remote location or in a city, this mini podcast is designed just for you, as I recognize how precious your time is. And when you have more time, I invite you to listen to the full episode to hear Bill's full story and more details of the services he provides now in his Encore career. If you find yourself in the midst of your own caregiving journey and need some supports, I invite you to tap into alongsidecaregiverconsulting.ca or cohencaregivingsupport.com. Thank you for watching this video or for listening to the audio version of the podcast. Take care.